To celebrate the holidays, we're bringing you 12 days of family history research.
So we're going to take this opportunity to get back to basics of family history research.
And each day we'll bring you a different strategy that will help you find your family. Merry Christmas from Journey Through the Generations. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Journey Through the Generations. We are on day 5 of day 5 of our 12 days of family history research series.
Can I say I'm just really enjoying this?
Yeah, it's really good. I like it. I mean, we're providing, I hope, good content. I think it is. Good content for people. And, I think we've said it before. If one person listens to it and finds good information, and I think we did what we were supposed to do. So today is day 5, and we're going to talk about family and personal archives.
Yes, and I think when I think about family history, I always think about finding a trunk in an attic or basement that is full of photos and family letters from somebody who was in the military at a war that wrote to their fiance that was back home. Those are the kinds of things that I think about when I think about family history.
Yeah, and it can be a lot of different things. I mean, it could be pictures. It could be report cards.
Mm-hmm.
It could be
scrapbooks.
It could be speeding tickets.
Correct.
Just whatever you have, because that's a part of the family story, is. Right? I mean, you can
absolutely,
if you wanted to write a story about your family, you can say,
my mama used
Dad
to speed all the time.
Got a speeding ticket doing 85 in the 70s
on her way to Arkadelphia to drop my sister off of school. So I remember like it was yesterday.
It could be like a lot of different things that are part of your family and personal archives, and I think what we want to talk about today is some of those things and how you can use them, and then also some tips on how you can gain access to them.
Yes. And if you are, privileged enough to have some, how to protect them as well.
Absolutely.
In our previous episodes, we've talked a lot about libraries and archives and things like that to go find information about your family. But one of the things that is the most fun and cherished in this research is finding information with your family, whether it's your parents, your children, your grandparents, your great aunts. Getting that information in those photos and going through those photos and finding out the names of the people in the photos. That's what we're talking about today.
Yes, and I love going back and looking at old pictures. And Trisha and I came up, we grew up in a time, and especially in college, we grew up in a time where you had a camera.
Yes.
With film that you had to put it in and go and get it developed.
Yes, take somewhere. Yes.
And we had, disposable cameras that we took to all the different events.
And we never knew what those pictures looked like until we purchased them.
Absolutely not. And so we always got double prints. Don't ask me why, but we got double prints
to share.
Matte, some people may not know what I'm talking about, but
there's some folks out there that know.
Oh yeah, most people know, but there's some people out there, our young folks may not know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I always like going back and looking at them and showing them to Trisha and like, oh, you remember this, and showing them to our son, and so. A lot of those things we try to share with him so he knows how important it is. So when we're gone, and he's our only child, so it's up to him to keep this stuff going. But yeah, those kinds of things are part of your personal family library archive storage, whatever it is.
Absolutely. When you think about it, and I think about the things that my grandmother had at her house. She had a bunch of photos. She had a bunch of funeral programs from the community. Those are wealth of information.
We got 4 binders worth of them?
Absolutely. The wealth of information with funeral programs. You have scrapbooks. My grandmother had a scrapbook from when she was in college in the 1930s, and I had never seen a picture of her as a young adult before I saw that scrapbook. And that was just amazing to see.
Yeah, recipe books.
I'm sweet
My
potato
mom,
pie
yep. My mama
recipes,
has several recipe books, and
family recipes. Yeah, those
yeah,
those dishes that you cook all the time for holidays, birthdays. Those, I mean, that's part of your family. That's just as much as part of your research as the people that we're researching.
absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about how to get access to these things. Now, some of us have our older relatives still with us, and a lot of them will not let go of that information. So you are not going to go in their house and take it out of there. So you definitely want to have a plan on how to take record of those pictures, scanning, whatever it is. You want to do that. But I think the most important part I want to note for people is that when your older relatives pass on, do not just let that house sit empty and you don't go through it. You have to go and get those documents because you don't want anything bad to happen to them, whether that's mold, water damage, fire, somebody just doesn't care and throws it all away. You don't want that kind of stuff to happen. So what I would recommend that you do is while our relatives are still living today, you go to them, tell them what you're doing, what your plan is, and let them know that if they have, a will or a directive or anything like that, that they say, you know what, Trisha gets every single piece of the trunk that's upstairs in the attic and all the photos that are in my closet. And so then you're sure that you're going to get, to get your information, especially if you have relatives that aren't very friendly. We
That
all have them. Don't look
we
like that.
do.
We all
No,
have them.
but that goes
So,
back to episode 1 of this series, the beginning, when we talked about talking to your oldest living relatives. And when we do that, when we have those conversations with, those relatives, that opens the door to let them know that you are interested in their life, their family's life, and that's not going to be the only conversation that you have with them. So you're building a relationship with them, and that will also help them understand how important this is to not only them but to you as well.
yeah, so you definitely want to plan and make sure that you do that. Trisha, let's talk about how, if you have materials, how do you store them or you keep them to where they don't, get damaged or anything like that?
Well, like for pictures, especially like you said that we had to get them developed, and that paper, depending on when you got them developed, is how old the picture is. So the first thing you want to do is you want to scan it. You want to get it digitized. A lot of this personal family archive that you're building, it should be digital because digital archives and will always be there. And even if the picture eventually disintegrates or fades, if you had scanned it, then you'll always have that good scan of that photo or document or letter or whatever it is that you're doing. So that's what I think you should do first, is scan it.
Yes, and let me jump in here talking about digitizing. When you digitize that and you save it, make sure you back it up.
Yes.
Back up your file. So do all of that, save it on an external hard drive, and back up that external hard
Right.
drive because external hard drives can go bad.
Yes.
And then you'll have a backup copy. And when you buy a new external hard drive, you can put it all on there and you just keep backing it
Yeah.
up. And you don't back it up one time, by the way. I know this is a little bit off topic, but it's important. You don't back it up one time. You back it up uh, repetitively throughout the course of the external hard
Right.
drive. So every week or every month, or because you're constantly adding files to it, and so you want to make sure those new files get backed up with all the other ones.
Right.
So
And
sorry for
yeah.
the,
No, you're good.
but it's
But
important.
for, like, you don't want to just save it to your computer. You want to put it on an external hard drive, multiple external hard drives, and then you want to put one away, whether it's in a fireproof box or if you have a safety deposit box in your bank or whatever. You want to make sure one is put away. So if, God forbid, something happens, you have one safe somewhere. So that's the first thing that I would do, is scan the photo, the recipe, the document, whatever it is, to make sure that you have preserved it. But what do you do with that paper copy of that picture, that recipe, or whatever? You can get photo albums nowadays are not like the photo albums of the 60s and 70s. You can get a good photo album that is not gonna ruin your picture, that will protect it, and you can put your photos in that. You can put them in recipes, in recipe cards. You can get binders with protective sleeves for your documents, your funeral programs, your death certificates, copies of things like that, school records, and you can organize them in a binder and put it in, your shelf or whatever.
And there are services also that would do this kind of information for you. Mm-hmm. And there are also services that sell the kits or the boxes or all that stuff that you want to put it in. So do a little research on that. I'm going to leave a link to one that I know about that people use, and so I'll put that link in the description box of this episode. So you have that option as well. Especially if you don't have the ability to do it,
right,
or you have discretionary income there where you can pay for that kind of stuff. So you have that option too.
Right. And one thing that I will mention that I don't often talk about, home movies. That can be part of your archive, because and nowadays you can get home movies, whether they were on VHS or beta or whatever kind of device they were on. You can get those digitized as well, and that would be something awesome for you to be able to show to your kids, or even to your parents and grandparents who haven't seen them in 20 or 30 years. That would be an awesome family time during any time, really, when you guys are together.
And I would tell you that if you have VHS tapes, I would encourage you to find your local library. Maybe has some equipment. If you have a
family history
library,
it's associated with FamilySearch.com.
Yeah. And so if you have a Family Search library in your area, one of the affiliate locations, they could potentially have some equipment there.
A university library, special collection, something like that.
So if you don't have that, then you could do it yourself. However, I have found that some of the equipment out there doesn't work well, number one. And then number two, if you don't have a VHS player, you're not going to get it to work. And so some of the VHS players out there you may still have in your closet may not work.
Yeah.
And so you do have the option. Also, there's some services out there that will take them and digitize them for you. So,
yes.
Anything else, Trisha?
No, I would be more than happy to hear from you guys and see what's in your family archive.
Yeah, tell us.
Maybe something we missed.
Yeah, tell us what you have, where you have it stored, any tips for other people. You definitely want to hear about that. You can do so on our Facebook page. All of our other social media, along with the Facebook page, is listed in the description box of this episode. We appreciate you guys for listening. If you have not listened to days 1 through 4, I would ask that you go back and listen to those, and tell a friend and share and let them know that we're providing tips and content over here for people doing their family research.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, we appreciate you for listening. We will see you tomorrow for day 6. Y'all take care.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.